Good morning, all, and welcome to the latest episode of the Turn It Round the Corner podcast. Episode 22, Harry Seaden, the latest in the line of Southend United's youth team. Obviously, we had John Benton on last week, teammates together. Harry, how you doing, mate?
Yeah, good, thank you.
Yeah. Good. How's your week?
Not bad. Busy.
Yeah?
Busy.
So, we've got to know each other from moving down this way, and obviously you being a Southend boy. So I want to, start with your current. So where are you playing now, mate?
I'm at Concord at the moment. Yeah,
nice local team.
Yeah, it's been a tough year.
Yeah,
tough year. With I was at Hornchurch a few months ago.
Yeah,
got injured in my first game against Salisbury.
Yeah,
ended up getting released through the injury.
Yeah,
which was tough to take.
Yeah,
I had a few trials and stuff in the summer to try and get into step 2.
Yeah,
but no, getting back fit with Concord and see how it goes.
And out of say full-time football, you're throwing yourself into coaching.
Yep. So the coaching's going really well.
Yeah.
Last probably about 4 years now.
Yeah.
With my experiences and stuff to give not only to the kids, to coaching wise, but to parents as well.
Yeah.
To give my insight and honest feedback as well. Which is good to hear.
I've seen some of your sessions. You've got great interaction with the kids. Is that something that you enjoy? Is that something that you'd like to make a career out of down the road?
I think so. In terms of going forward, football is it's a funny old game anyway. Yeah. It could work. It couldn't.
Yeah.
You need to have a plan B, and plan B would be to coach. And as I said, my experiences and stuff throughout coaching as well has been good.
Have you found it, as I say before we scrap out, have you found that sort of transition from full-time football to part-time football frustrating?
Frustrating, yes. Opportunities and stuff is the other thing, which is hard to take.
Yeah.
So I don't think I've got the opportunity yet to really push on and kick on. But as I said, that may come, it may not come. But yeah, that's the opportunities really. It's more the fact is getting frustrated.
Yeah, I know I always make this point to you, and I make it quite a lot, but obviously you can tell a good goalie from a bad goalie, right? But I don't really know that I haven't got the deep down knowledge of goalies. I always say that to you. It's not an area that I've really paid much attention to over the years. But is there still that stigma with goalies where people never used to play a young goalie, right? And you'd always be back up to a certain age, and then obviously you could play in goal to your 40 or whatever. Where are we with that now? Is a player getting in younger and having a go, or?
Yes and no.
Right. Manager dependent?
Yeah, depending on managers and stuff.
Yeah.
The main thing now is loans.
Right.
Which is tough to take for non-league keepers or young keepers who come out of full-time football or want to get back into full-time football.
Yeah.
Is where West Ham, Arsenal, City, or whoever can put their under-18s out, keepers who are strong, athletic, and then clubs don't have to pay minimal amount for them, and they can get them in. So it is tough. But as I said, the young keepers is still a thing.
Yeah.
It happened to me multiple times.
Yeah.
But then on the flip side, I know people who are 30 and they get told they're old. So it's tough. It's tough out there, especially goalkeeping. Because
it's a really unique position, isn't it? Because, like, I do the Orient Hour, for instance, and do some stuff, Phoenix FM, and we always talk about keepers about, like, if you look at Orient over the last 3 years, for instance, we've had a lone keeper every year, and 2 of them come from the same club, Middlesbrough, and it's like, you've just touched on it now, higher up the pyramid, it seems like Prem and Champ clubs have just got, like, an endless supply line of keepers that they're keeping in a closet to loan out as and when. You've probably got, 3 or 4 around the first team, then you've got a couple of under-21 keepers, 2 YTs. Yeah. Like, that must be really hard when there's only one position available, right?
Yeah, but I think goalkeeping is a sport inside a sport.
Right.
As I said, we train on our own.
Yeah.
We do analysis on our own. So it is technically a sport inside a sport where we can look at different things, analyse different strikers, wingers, whoever, which outfield players can't do. Yeah. We can help them out in terms of set plays and things like that.
Sure.
But in terms of the actual sport, we are separated.
Yeah.
As I said, we're on our own.
Yeah.
If we make a mistake, it's a goal.
It's hard.
It's going to lead to an opportunity to score. So it's that mindset of we are on our own.
What made you want to play in goal? Because, like, again, most parents, me included, like, my son Bert used to love a dive around in goal. Like, Dad, can I have goalie gloves? And I always used to be like, get yourself out of there now. Like, even when, like, it was his turn, his first grassroots team, under 6, under 7s, they didn't have a goalie. And when Bert used to go in goal, he used to come steaming out and knock people over, and I'd be like, oh my God, we need to get him out of goal before he hurts himself.
I mean, yeah, my old man was the same.
My old man
was a centre-half at Southend. He done a few games at Southend and stuff with like Bobby Moore and things like that. So I did play at centre-half, mainly my youth career anyway. The main 2 people probably who got me in goal were the counties.
Were they?
Were my PE teachers at school.
Oh, okay. Well, Fitz? Was that Fitz?
Mark. Yeah, so they were my PE teachers. So I got into year 7. I did it a little bit there and, well, a little bit of coaching and stuff like that. And Friday nights with Terry Mason, Reece Otley and things like that. They helped me out through that. And then it just escaped there really quickly. So, yeah.
Are they still as nuts as they used to be, would you say, Goldies?
Oh, yeah.
Still as crazy.
There's still that sort of mindset of we are still crazy. You've got to be. You've got to be in terms of, not in terms of rash. Yeah. There's a fine line between being rash and erratic and, being confident and things like that and sure. And there is a fine line. As I said, like the higher up the pyramid you go, the more confident you've got to be. Of course. Ball at your feet now as well is a massive part of the game where you've got to find passes and things like that, so you've got to be confident. Yeah. You've just touched on, I want a couple of points before we scrape it back. Like, you've made a great point there. I was speaking to a scout last week and he said, like, he was watching a keeper, I won't name him, but, like, he went to watch an under-23 game and you can't really get a grasp of, say, their goalkeeping ability because at that level now, they spend more time on the ball at their feet. Like, is that, would you say, be the main change over the last 10 years about, like, the ability for goalkeepers to be able to play out and just be a bit more comfortable? Oh, 100%. Especially being that, fortunate to be at high academy levels as well when I was younger. The transition from Southend to, I say, non-league style, but long ball and pick up the second balls and percentages rather than can we break teams down? Especially with me, I am confident to bring it out from the back and be a third centre-half. It gives you another option. So in terms of playing out and things like that, people play 4-4-2 and things like that with the 2 centre-halves, you're overloading them anyway. Sure. So in terms of that, it is a big thing. But as I said, if we mess up, it's a goal. So that's the big difference. The centre-half messes up and passes to striker. At least you've got me behind them to try and save it. Yeah. And then lastly, you mentioned about your dad, John. So he played for Southend, was it in the 80s, was it? Yeah. Bobby Moore was his manager. Yeah. As I said, centre-half, did you say he was? Yeah. Old school sweeper, as he used to say. Yeah, good. But no, all my sort of football knowledge, that's come from him. And the desire to sort of follow in his footsteps as well at Southend was the main goal for myself. And how was he, like, going through, we'll get to it obviously, but when you was going through the system, how was he with you? Brilliant. Yeah? Yeah, I can't, as I said, he's my old man, I can't call him anyway, but as I said, we used to have away games and that, used to drive up and come with me in the car and that. And biggest supporter? Yeah, 100%. Yeah. And my mum as well, like, as I said, they used to come to my games and things like that. As I said, we had some big games, youth games and things like that. And as I said, we could probably touch on my experiences and stuff as well when we go on. But yeah, he's always been there and always supported. Having done it, seen it, one or two shows, they say, like, was he tough? Yeah. Yeah. But he had to be. Yeah. Yeah, had to be. As I said, like, I think that takes into my life now as well, especially coaching as well, is I never sugarcoat anything. I'll always be honest with people. That's how I've been brought up with him and my mum and things like that. Is coaching and football, there's a fine line between sugarcoating things and being 100%. Honest. Yeah, 100%. As I said, I would rather go on the honesty side of it. Is I only want to help people. I don't want people to fail and things like that, especially, as I said, on the coaching side of it. But in terms of playing, if I was bad and had a bad game, it would be the first one to tell me that I've been poor or you could have done something better or things like that. But as I said, he only wanted to help me and improve. But then on the flip side of that, if you've done well, we tell you, right? Yeah. 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 And I think
I think that's the best way to be, and I think that's kind of eradicated a little bit. Like as you say, from your coaching, and I've come back into grassroots now, and I'm coaching and doing other coaching on the side. I don't know if people are as receptive to honesty as in the football environment as what they used to be. I think sometimes they struggle with it. I think it's more a little bit delusions of grandeur with their kid. Like everyone thinks they're, in your aspect, they're going to be the next Peter Shield or whatever. But I don't know if it's as well received as we didn't have a choice. Like I'm probably 20 years older than you, H, more than that. Like I didn't have a choice. Like in my year, it was to the extreme one way. You probably had it in the middle a little bit, but more towards the honesty. Now, kind of feel like it's gone too far the other way. When you get a bollocking or you're told in no uncertain terms, sometimes I don't know if they know how to deal with it.
It's tough. As I said, like now especially with kids, it's emotional side of the game.
That's
and off the pitch and things like that. Is you don't want to hammer someone and then it affects them the whole week and they never want to play football ever again. Yeah. That's not what it's for. But constructive criticism is always what would help someone. Yeah. But the main thing for me was to get integrated with or to get into the parents.
Yeah.
I think that's a side of the game what coaches sort of neglect is, as I say, some parents aren't from football backgrounds and they don't know what it takes to get to the next step or, the challenges ahead of them. So when I started with PL1 and started with my coaching journey, I feel like parents sometimes come to me for advice about
but that's great.
For the next step and things like that. And I said, I'm always honest and open about academy football and what the stages are and what it's like. I said, from my parents, and it is tough.
Yeah.
It's tough. Setbacks and things like that. It's tough to take. And sometimes parents do take it out on kids, with no fault of their own, obviously, but it's the frustration and
the time and the money and everything else.
I said my dad spent thousands on gloves and boots and you name it, and petrol and stuff, getting up to places and that. So it is a big step and a big commitment for parents and things like that as well.
Yeah, I think that's something I've tried to bang the drum on, specifically on this podcast, and me and John spoke about it last week, that I think, again, this day and age, a lot of people want their kids to play academy football, but I don't think they realise everything that comes with it. Like you've just said, the financial outlay, I don't know, you might have Birmingham away on Sunday, you've got to stay up there, the work commitments, the diary management, the other sibling, there's a lot that comes with it, right? So I think you being able to, coach kids is one thing, but being able to give them that advice and having lived through it, but you're in part-time football now, you've gone through full-time football, right? I think that's invaluable. So to start from the beginning, mate, so born in Southend?
Born in Southend.
Yeah.
Yep. Lived in Rayleigh.
Yeah.
Since obviously I was younger than that.
Yeah.
Edward Francis primary school, Fitzroy Marks secondary school. So obviously we lived around the corner anyway.
Yeah.
Football team was Rayleigh Boys.
Yeah, okay.
From growing up.
Yeah.
Then I played a few games for Holbridge until obviously I got scouted with Southend.
Yeah. How did you enjoy your grassroots?
I loved it.
Yeah.
Loved it.
No,
I was never in goal. Never in goal.
Under nines? Was that under nines you went
all the way through. Yeah, all the way through till probably under 14s, 13s.
Okay.
With obviously my schoolmates and stuff, and with primary school, and we went with the same team.
Yeah.
As I said, I still connected with a few of them.
So you played centre half, yeah?
Centre half.
Any good?
It was all right.
Yeah. Ball player or head of volley?
Oh, head and volley. Yeah, not quick either.
Yeah.
Pace is not my thing. But reading the game and heading it, I could do that. But other than that, yeah.
So what happened? Why? Because it's a big change, isn't it? Especially at that age. I think, looking at you coach on a Monday night or a Friday night, when there's hundreds of kids there at that age, I think if you're going young and you're a goalie forever, you just take it as what it is, right? Yeah. Same as you play in centre half, you'd expect to play centre. I expect my lad to play centre half to the day, to the day he don't play football, right? What made you at 13, 14 go from playing centre half to going goal?
I said I like rolling around in mud.
Yeah.
There was a couple of games where our keeper didn't play.
Got sent off. I was going
to
say,
sent off. No, like didn't play or was ill or whatever in Sunday league, and I ended up going in goal.
Yeah.
And I thought, you know what? Like even my dad said, like, you know what, you're right.
Yeah, yeah.
And then obviously went to coaching and said like Friday nights and stuff with Terry Mason, Rick Sotley on a Friday.
So you were still doing that? You were doing goalie coaching whilst playing out on pitch?
Yeah. So I was doing my goalkeeping training and stuff. Right. With on a Friday night and things like that.
Okay.
With Southend's like development squad.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
Like
Okay.
I said I started with the development and then ended up going through.
Right.
But I was still playing Sunday league and stuff.
Okay.
Centre half, and then obviously when it went a little bit further, I think it helps playing centre half, understanding the game, and said with my feet as well, which helps massively in terms of going forward. So yeah, it did help. It did help.
That's a great point because like you see that like quite a lot now, don't you? You see like goalies maybe playing their serious football in goal, and then they'll play for like their mate's team or whatever it is out on pitch. I know, like look at Bertie at Orient, like both the keepers they played for. I think like say they're a good team on a Saturday, and then on a Sunday they played for their mate's team or whatever out on pitch or centre mid. Like that's definitely got to help you in it.
100%, yeah, especially at higher level and things like that. When you get higher, the playing out from the back and the understanding of the game is massive, huge. The next pass, the next phase, the understanding of where people are going to move, and also defending as well, where you want to show people, you want to show them down the line, side, or things like that. If you're playing behind someone, the understanding, the connection with the centre half is massive. I said at Southend and things like that, where the two centre half was the same pretty much the whole time.
Right.
And me and John White were roommates for years.
Right.
So I knew him
so
well that I knew the game and read the game with him. So
like talking about that, and I'd say things become popular and everything goes in cycles. And obviously at the moment, last couple of years, it's very popular to play out and all the keepers playing out and two centre halves in the 6-yard box and playing out. Could you ever see it going like full circle back to where like keepers are just getting it and booming it as far as they can?
I don't think so now.
Nah.
I think that's it.
Right. It's done, yeah?
Yeah, but to a certain degree, it does help the game.
Right.
So in terms of squeezing the play, the two centre halves be on the halfway line.
Yeah.
So all that space in the other half is massive. So Edison, for example, at City, where Harden was down the halfway line, the two centre halves be in the 6-yard box.
Yeah.
And he can kick it length of the pitch. Yeah. So you've got all that space to hit in behind. So it does give you another option.
Yeah, I noticed last time Man City played, when he was going into Haaland's feet a lot.
Yeah.
Just the straight
but you can't
one straight into
There's
it.
Not enough players on the pitch to. So I said, if they drop off and put the holding midfielder on Haaland's feet, that means it gives you another option to be filled. So it is sort of a bit of tit for tat sort of thing where I said you move the ball, move the play, especially at City or things like that. The players are so good. They can move it and know where they're going to go.
So you're playing at Rayleigh Boys on pitch. You're playing for Southend Development. You was in goal. You was doing a keep changing. So what happened where you just flipped it completely?
So I said it was in the development squad with Southend. I remember Danny Heath, Michael March at Southend contacted Dad and said, one of our keepers in the academy's injured or ill or things like that. And he said, can you play against Leyton Orient, funny enough?
Oh, yeah.
I said, my dad was like, he'll go and play.
What was this then, mate? Under 14?
This was under, I think it was under 14s, ended up playing one game against Orient and then ended up signing pretty much straight after the game. Yes, and then ended up obviously signing for Centre of Excellence at the time was the academy and that. And we ended up having 3 keepers in my age group.
Wow. So
I had 3 keepers, the 2 obviously who were originally there, and then obviously then they signed me. So then that transition of not playing, or we did quarters at that point. We did 20-minute quarters, so we had like one quarters, and it was carnage. But they said it did help competition and things like that. You had to play better than the other keepers and that.
And then at the end of that under 14 season, for instance, did they get rid of the others, or
the transition was they ended up getting rid of both.
Right.
And then they said leading through to under 15s, under 16s, where it got a bit more serious under 16s, where that was make or break. Do you get your YTS and then go through, or do you go into non-league and things like that? So Yeah, it was a big year. Big year.
So then last couple of years then, so you've transitioned full on to playing in goal. Did you always think that you'd get a YT, or was you, because obviously, no offence, like playing in goal a little bit here, a little bit there, and then being thrust into academy environment, you're probably learning on the job a lot of the time as well, or not so much learning on the job, but like having to improve technically, I should imagine, improve like mentality and like things like that. So how them 2 years go?
Was tough at the start,
right?
But for me and my mentality is, I got obsessed with it. So I was obsessed with YouTube.
Right.
And now I still watch videos of, especially like coaching and things like that.
Sure.
Learn from other people, and watching other keepers and what they do, and then can I recreate it, for example?
Yeah.
And then people, for example, at youth team level, we could ask people. I used to come out to the halfway line, dribble the ball, and youth team level and things like that, because in that level you have to do something different.
Yeah, yeah.
You have to stand out from the crowd. Yeah. For me, my two things were sweeper, coming out and playing, and communication.
Right.
So I was loud, shouting,
right?
and said like 15, 16-year-olds, they don't do that.
No.
So I stood out in terms of that, and that's what sort of got me to the next level, especially Southend, and then obviously leading forward to like England and things like that and stuff like that. That's the next stage where I stood out from the crowd. Maybe not necessarily goalkeeping perspective, but as I said, even now I'm loud, communication, things like that, since I was 15. Yeah. So like I said, I've done that for years now.
Do you like, you've touched on two things there that I think are really important, and I'm a massive fan of this. Do you think the superpowers come out of it? Like I look at players, or I try to help players have one or two things they're really good at. Mm-hmm. So like you said, communication. I'd say one of my superpowers still is now, as an old git playing vets, is that I talk, and you make life easier for yourself and your team, right? But what I've noticed since my kid being in an academy journey or whatever, or since having a kid that plays football, is parents want their kid to be good at everything, which sometimes I think, like, you know, like them players, for instance, that can play in any position, but you wouldn't exactly say they've nailed down one because they haven't got a superpower. Do you think that's going out of the game a little bit? Do you think everyone wants to be just good at everything?
I said it's a team sport.
It's hard to be good at everything.
Yeah,
right?
You can't be good at everything.
No.
As I said, especially like managers, obviously have a decision to make with players. Yeah. But as I said, there might be someone on the wing, for example, who's got a great delivery.
Yeah.
But on the other wing, someone's got loads of pace.
Yeah.
So you've got to make a decision based on the team.
Yeah.
And as I said, like the superpowers is when I was growing up and things like that, with like the four corners and stuff, when you used to do your sort of like evaluation and stuff at the end of the season and stuff like that, what you're good at and what can you work on. There's always stuff to work on. Yeah. No one's ever perfect.
No,
as you said, like players need to, and parents as well. As I said, I touched on that as well, which is you need to understand that you're never perfect. Yeah. You're never going to be perfect. And I said, people like, for example, don't have any pace.
Yeah.
But like centre half, for example, especially nowadays, they still need to be quick. But if they read the game well, you don't even need to use pace. Yeah. Because you've already been there before you need to move your feet or to sprint. So in terms of a goalkeeping perspective, my two things and my superpowers were communication and being different in terms of sweeping. Yeah. So they were my two superpowers in terms of that. Then obviously leading on to different things with kicking and stuff, which was my big part of my game. Right. Is I can open up defences and open up the pitch with distribution. Right.
So the second part of that was communication and talking. Like as you know, I'll go and watch games for different people at all levels of the game. Even if I take Leyton Orient, for instance, 8 or 9 players now in a team, no one says a word. Like, and I'll go and watch non-league games sometimes, and I'll go, whoever I'm with, or I might be on my own. I can hear a pin drop. Like, especially at under 23, don't really see them characters anymore. Like, you've seen both sides, and obviously you're the new era. Do you think that's gone out of the game?
Oh, definitely.
Is that because it's now a selfish thing, H, where people just taking care of themselves?
I don't know, to be honest with you. I mean, it could be, but for me, it's more the fact is people are better technically now.
Yeah, of course.
People drum into, especially academy levels, that it's drummed into first touch, different passing styles of play and things like that, and the way they pass the ball. That's a massive part of it. But the old school sort of side of the grit, determination, and tackling and things like that, it's completely gone out of the game.
Yeah,
completely gone. But there is still sort of shining lights and things like that, where you do see people who have that other side of the game. But I said, like, non-league now has become, especially now further down the pyramid, especially now playing at my level in step 4, is people now coming down who have played and have done it.
It's exactly what John said last week now.
Yeah, and personally, in my opinion, I think the conference level and said like Southend level is more League 2 now, in my eyes, and Conference South is more conference.
Yeah.
The standard is improving massively and rapidly, where maybe that could be a financial aspect of people having more money and stuff, and other people where they live and things like that. But it's completely changed over the years.
I agree with that. Like, Conference South for me is one of my favourite leagues to watch. Like, I'll go and watch a game of that, and most weeks, and I really enjoy it. Do you know what I mean? I think there's so many hidden gems in that league, and as you say, there's also people who you think, I didn't expect him to be playing Conference South, or I didn't realise he was playing Conference South. So you got to Southend. Obviously, you've done your 2 years. You're learning. You're improving every week. Can you remember getting your YT?
Yep. Yeah, I remember going in with Dad. With a meeting with Ricky Duncan, Danny Heath, and things like that. As I said, my youth career escalated very quickly. Yeah, very quickly. As I said, you probably touch on it in a minute. But within 2 years, it skyrocketed. Yeah, from playing in front of 10 people at Boots and Laces to then playing in front of thousands. Yeah, so it did escalate really quickly. But as I said, I had good people like my old man and stuff around me to sort of keep me grounded and sort of focused on. Main aim is to keep the ball out of the back of the net, which is the main thing. Is I've always stood is you do your best to try and keep it out. The other side of the game and stuff and all that is thin air then. So obviously we touched on it a bit. So you got your YT, but there's a good juncture there. So you represented England under 16 and under 17s. Talk to me about that, mate. How did it come about? Funny enough,
I don't see you playing centre off.
I don't think so. I remember it vividly. Yeah. The game I got scouted at was against Watford.
Yeah. This is a youth team game, yeah?
Youth team game. I was first year.
Boots and Laces or
no? This was at Watford at the training ground. There was what it's like, rumours and stuff flying around.
Yeah. Did you know? Did you know?
I didn't know at the start. Did your dad know? Or no one knew there was someone there scouting or whether or things like that.
Right.
But as I said, like, a few months went past and stuff, and it all came out. Oh, you might have been scouted for England and stuff. Yeah. And I remember the other one who scouted with me was Drew Eward.
Oh, okay, he's playing now in the US, yeah.
And as I said, it was me and him, and there's a few others as well.
Was he at Southend at the time, or was he? He
was at Southend at the time, yeah. And the other one was Keith Azette. His name was
Keith Azette.
He ended up getting a really bad injury, but he had to move to Forest. And lovely kid, great left foot. End up getting injured and end up retiring early, but it was us three
from that
game.
Right. Because Drew because he's a Harlow boy. Didn't Drew join Southend late? Was he at Arsenal or something?
Yeah, he was at Arsenal and then joined late, and then they said he kick-started his career as well through Southend and stuff. Then that leaded on to a trial at Loughborough University, and I think there was over 700 kids.
Jesus.
700 of us, where they obviously sectioned off different days and different weeks and that, and we all went through trials and stuff. And long story short, I got from the 700 to the last 24.
Yeah.
Through
how many keepers in that 24, mate?
There was 2, 3.
Right.
There was a few, obviously, like backup and stuff. There was probably, in the end, there's probably about 5 throughout the whole time I was there.
Okay.
And we all competed with each other. As I said, I still speak to a few of them now, and obviously still playing and stuff. A few aren't playing, but a few are playing. As I said, like, I was the only Category 3 academy player in the whole thing.
Wow.
In the whole setup who got into the last 24. So in terms of that, as a personal pride, even if I didn't play,
amazing, mate.
It was good to get through, and And they said the experience I ended up having through that was massive. Huge.
So you played 6 games, was it? For 16s, and then obviously we'll get on to 17s, but you played 6 games at 16s?
Yeah, so the 16s level was a massive eye-opener to that sort of side of the game, where my debut was against France, in France.
Wow. Where was that played, mate?
I can't remember the stadium, to be honest. I was in a non-league stadium somewhere, a small stadium. And yeah, that was a massive eye-opener to what it was like, and a big sort of shock to the system where, as I said, I walked out in front of 10 people at Boots and Aces to, I think there ended up being 1,500 people there.
Okay.
Big game. I said I did really well.
Yeah.
I said my mentality is to keep the ball out of the back of the net. And
of course.
Forget about anything going off the pitch. And I said my mum and dad ended up coming over, which was good for me. Obviously, having the support and stuff with them, which was big. And they said I ended up getting keeper of the tournament. In that tournament.
So it was actually this was a tournament.
This was a tournament. As I said, I'd done the camps leading up to it.
Okay.
Some goalkeeping camps and stuff.
What was it, like a Euro or just like a?
That was a Toulon tournament.
Oh right, okay.
Yeah, I think I remember rightly. I think it was. And then we didn't end up doing too well in it.
Right.
But I ended up getting keeper of the tournament.
That's brilliant, mate.
Which was obviously an achievement and things like that. And as I said, my team was good.
Can you remember who was in that team?
Saka was in it.
Okay.
Because Saka was playing left back at the time.
Wow.
And ended up moving forward. There's a few others who are knocking around Championship and stuff at that level.
But he was the standout.
He was the standout. Yeah. And I said we had a good squad, and I still speak to a few of them now. But it was weird going into that where I didn't know anyone. I was on my own.
Yeah, sure.
Literally was like a little sheep on my own, because I said category 3 at Southend.
And also obviously we both live here, but out this way, you're not in London where you're like coming across the same.
I never played with anyone. I never sort of experienced that with anyone. I said like the Arsenal boys and the City and United, they're all with each other, they all knew each other and that. So that was massive for me, which was tough to take. Where I was on my own.
Good for you.
Oh, definitely. No, it's just, as I said, like it
life
was tough.
experiences.
It was really, really tough, especially 16.
Yeah. How long was you away for it?
2.5 weeks.
Wow.
Yeah, nearly 3 weeks.
That is a long time, isn't it?
Away from home as well, which was the first time staying away from home with family and stuff, which was hard, which was tough. But it did sort of make me a better player and make me a better person. So, which is obviously the main outcome.
So what about 17s then, mate? Obviously you made the progression from 16s to 17s, yeah? Yeah,
so it ended up getting a bit tough to sort of get into the team and that with different people and different managers, different styles of play.
Right.
Especially being at Southend, it was tough.
What league was Southend in then? League One?
We was in League One at the time. 17s maybe, I think we might have got relegated into League Two.
Okay.
But the push and desire was still there to still do the camps and stuff.
Sure.
As I said, Southend always let me go and also represent my country and things like that, which was massive for them and the academy. And then I ended up getting called up to the under-17s.
Yeah.
It was actually here in England.
Right.
The tournament was here. The Euros was here.
Oh, okay.
So I ended up getting called up. I was fourth choice.
Right.
So I was back up.
Right.
And then I ended up getting the call up. Someone got injured. Then ended up going. But that experience was crazy.
So it was the Euros, was it?
Yeah, it was the Euros was here. Yeah. I said the under-16s and stuff, I played some big games in that. The 17s, I played a couple big, we had Portugal, I can't remember, was it Rotherham or things like that. But it was ended up 7,500.
Wow.
So I said, I ended up playing with 15 people at Boots and Aces to 7,500 was massive.
There's a big thing for, like, as you say, Southend's Academy as well. It's like a big sort of, like, reward for them as well.
Yeah, no, I said, like, people at Southend and stuff were obviously, represent your country is massive. And said that when I come back, I was never the one to sort of gloat or to be big-headed or anything. I said I knew my place. I knew where I got to, and I was lucky to get to that place. I said I performed well. I could have performed probably better, but maybe that was just not out of my depth. But it was tough to transition between.
Mate, it's a very big, it's a massive level.
Big difference.
How many from the 16s made it to the 17s?
There was probably about half, 25%. Some then ended up petering out and sort of left a little bit, which that's the natural progression anyway. And then from that 16s to 17s level as well, that year was the growth, and people got bigger, stronger.
Sure.
That sort of growth spurt as well in that year was massive. So people ended up changing completely from that whole year. I said because I'm born 2001, I was the older age group of that year. So I was playing with the year younger as well.
Okay.
So that could have helped in terms of I was bigger anyway, and I quicker. And then some people end up coming through straight away, and then that's ended up happening. Yeah.
Was Saka still the standout at 17s? Was he? Or?
Oh yeah, the whole way through.
Yeah.
And he was really down to earth, a lovely kid, really, lovely family, and that. And they said like all of them were really, really good people. They said like the staff and things like that understood where I didn't know any of them, didn't know any people. I did like icebreakers and stuff too. And then end up that 17s level was more comfortable because I knew them then. So in terms of that, I knew people. I knew I felt more comfortable in terms of myself. But even 16s towards the end, like I obviously got connected with other people and stuff.
So one question I always ask, Hakes, like amazing experiences. There's a small percentage of people in this country that can say they play for England at any level, right? So you played 16s and 17s. Talk to me. Please tell me that you've kept all your memorabilia. You got your programs with your shirt.
Programs.
Did you get a cap?
Didn't get caps.
Right.
They ended up doing it was like a medal box.
Yeah.
So you got like a box where every year you played, you get like a medal. So on the 16s, 15s and stuff or whatever, you end up getting a medal. So the goal was to get all the way around.
To
get all the medals. Obviously, everyone would have got them in the end. But so I got that box with the medals in it. Got all my shirts, all my England shirts. One of my shirts is actually at my old school. Which I give to them.
Amazing.
Where
it's nice to hear.
As I said, like I wanted to give back to them, and I said I represented them as well.
The school, of course.
And I said I ended up doing academically. I had to do homework and stuff because they let me go for school obviously for 2 weeks, 3 weeks. So giving back to them as well at the end, where
like Southend, though, mate, that's a massive thing for them, isn't it, to have one of their pupils.
Yeah, so like it was so bizarre getting the call up, getting to that stage. As I said, going from non-league football at 14 to England at 16s.
But it's also a big shout, like coming from a Cat 3 academy. Like even now, like there's been odd outliers. I was watching a program the other day, and they were talking about. I think it was Paul Merson. He was saying, "I got picked for the '98 World Cup. I was playing in the Championship. Like that, just them outliers don't happen anymore, right?" No. Did you swap any shirts?
No, not allowed. No, none of that. None of that when we was younger and that. I never even thought of it. But to be honest, it never crossed my mind.
Right.
Listen, like when you're younger and that, you don't even know.
No, of course you don't.
You never know.
Have you got the programs where you can look back?
Programs, You said the main one against France was Ryan Cherky.
Okay.
Leon and things like that. He was the one where, to be fair, mate, he was doing Rabonnas and all sorts when he was younger. Yeah, when I played my debut.
Yeah. What was the score?
So I ended up playing the first half.
Yeah.
So I played the first half, and then because we had 3 games, and we ended up playing that. 4 games.
Yeah.
And we ended up playing like half each and stuff, and then we ended up playing a game each. So that was my first half playing there, and I can't remember the score to myself. I think we drew in the end.
Right.
Some of the players there,
but he was the standout though, was he? And Saka obviously the standout for England, right?
Was massive, and I said that I still got connected well with friends and stuff through that, and
that's brilliant, mate. That's an amazing achievement. During that spell, H, what would you say? There's a couple of questions in there. Firstly, what was the difference in, say, going from a Southend environment to that environment? Was it just all the quality, the difference in the players?
Professionalism as well was probably the massive thing, which I never kit men and all sorts was crazy. Like going from, we used to get our own kit and stuff.
Of course.
To wash it and
of course,
put your name on it and all that. And you had your own kit. You had like your name on the back of your shirt. It was the first year the 17s level under. When I went to the Euros, the first time I ever had my name on the back of my shirt. So in terms of having that, I didn't even play. Yeah. But to see that and to see my name on my shirt the first time when I was 16, 17 was
just a realisation of the level that you're at.
This is it. Like I am playing with people who will kick on, and end up meeting like Roy Hodgson was the manager.
Wow, okay.
And then he ended up coming into the change room and stuff, and all that side of it was crazy to see. And then we had like a few camps and stuff as well, like the gym at St George's Park. We ended up going through, and Jordan Pickford and all of them were sitting on the bikes. So you're walking past your idols, which was, I said, when you're YTS and stuff, you're walking past people and like you wouldn't even believe they're there. Did
you get any time with older players?
Not really, no. No, they were sort of
doing their own thing,
other players, and that was just fair enough in that. But it was that whole the FA and things like that, and England setup and that is just amazing. Amazing setup. But as I said, it's always thought through, and even like going on tours and that, the France and things like that. The hotel was unbelievable, food or whatever was all put on, and you never felt uncomfortable or anything. It was always there for you.
Massive experience, mate. What was the one takeaway that you took from that? What was the one thing you took back? Right, confidence.
That I can do it. Yeah, I can. I think that leads into me now. Like, I never want to give up because I know that I can do it.
Yeah.
And I know I've been put into places and situations where I could have folded, I could have crumbled.
Yeah.
But I come out the other end and I was all right. So I think that was probably one of the main things, to stay confident in who I am, and especially playing wise. Maybe off the pitch, it doesn't really matter, but
of course,
playing wise, I can do it.
Yeah, you've got the ability. And then, so you've got your YTS at Southend. Where was you in regards to like that environment then? Was it just youth team? Was you getting any sniffs? Was you training with the first team?
I was training with the first team probably most days. I was cannon fodder. Shouldn't go that But for me, and my mentality was, I'm with my idols.
So were they League Two then?
League One. League One. Right. Yeah, said like Phil Brown. I remember I was 16. Phil Brown was the manager for his first year there. I ended up playing like a youth team game. My dad used to drive me from the youth team game. He used to do the warm up for the first team.
Oh, did you?
Yeah, so he used to do like the shooting practice before the games and stuff. I used to sit there. I remember it like it was yesterday, where I used to go into I feel old now, going into the changing room, and then there was like a little clock, little seat. It wasn't even a seat. It was just a clock, and it was like a little. I don't even know how big it was. It was tiny, little ledge.
Yeah.
And that used to be my seat.
Right.
So I used to be like a 16-year-old, just like a little ledge. Yeah. And I used to sit there and like the first team players, and they had like Anton Ferdinand at the time, Simon Cox and Mark Fortuné. So many of them.
Yeah. They had good careers.
Yeah, good careers, good people. And as I said, like, I grew up fast. I had to grow up fast. And so Phil Brown was a big part of that as well.
Right.
As I said, didn't speak to him much, but he knew I was there. So I said I used to go and do shooting and stuff, stay out for hours with like Simon Cox or whatever, do shooting and stuff like that. So that was a big part of my sort of transition between youth team and first team.
Yeah,
I was always connected.
So you're around it all the time. When did you think about getting when was any notice of getting a pro deal there?
I said like keepers wise.
Who was in goal at the first team that
well, the first time training with the first team was Dan Bentley.
Okay.
I was only a kid. I was only 15.
Yeah, sure.
Dan Bentley, Ted Smith was there. So them two to work off of and to learn from was huge, massive.
Both went on to have
them. And so Dan Bentley still get like some messages and stuff.
Yeah.
And if I text him, for example, he's always replied back and stuff, which is a massive part of goalkeeping because we're all together, all unit and stuff. And that's the cliche of
goalkeepers union. Yeah,
and that is a thing.
But
I said we're on our own.
Yeah,
we're on our own, and you can only understand goalkeepers. So
to be quite honest, I've always heard that though. Like even if I take my club this year, like that obviously only one person can play, only one person has got that shirt, but generally seems to be totally different to like the rest of the team. Like obviously you want to play, but like we've all been there. Like I'm not playing, someone's playing him up. I really has a stinker to that or whatever. Do you know what I mean? Like I don't get that vibe with goalies at all. They want to play, but at the same time, I think because they know how insular it is and like it's all on you, they don't want the person playing ahead of them to have an absolute stinker.
No, and I said, like, you know, back in your mind, you want to play.
Of course.
Of course.
Everyone wants to play, right?
It's dog eat dog, you know what I mean? It's always been the case.
Yeah.
But I said, Dan Bentley, I was only young anyway. I didn't really sort of know him. But I knew he was always there to help, and he understood that, you know, I worked hard and stuff, and I wanted to learn. The main one, probably, as I said, Nathan Bishop was my best mate. He, you know, we still go on holiday and stuff together, but we were competing with each other throughout Southend. Obviously, he got his move to United, which was crazy in itself, which is a massive achievement for him. Yeah, and he's now kicked on and playing. But Mark Oxley was probably the one who really put his arm around me and sort of helped to learn off of. And I said he was in League One, he was flying for 2-3 years, was unbelievable experience. Then
where's he playing now, H?
He is at Harrogate.
Right.
He's not playing at the moment, I think he's injured and stuff, but he was the one who sort of helped and sort of put his arm
went out their way to help.
Yeah, and I said, like, goalkeeping is fine lines, fine margins to make or break a save or something. You can move your feet or whatever, where some coaches can't give you that information.
Sure.
But people who are playing at League One level can.
Yeah.
But the environment I got put in was, said Lee Harrison was my goalie coach at the time.
Brilliant, yeah.
And he was, as I said, I've always said he's almost like a father figure to me. And I said he's a family friend anyway. I knew him through family and stuff.
Very well liked at Orient.
Yeah, but he
Barnett.
Yeah, was unbelievable.
Yeah.
Unbelievable in terms of knowledge of the game.
Yeah.
Would fight my corner. So if I played or whatever, or Ox played, he'd always fight their corner if they had made a mistake or whatever. But then he was always honest with any of us, any of the goalkeepers and stuff. He was always honest to say, "Oh, you did this wrong. You could do this better." But I think that sort of shed my light in terms of a coaching perspective as well. Where I've had so many different goalkeeping coaches over the years, where he's helped massively in terms of that. In terms of, I'd always be honest with people and to keepers, to parents, to whoever about someone, rather than sugarcoat it or do something like that.
So during that 2 years, mate, when did you feel like you was going to, or when did you get your pro deal? So,
I was, I said, finished my YTS.
Yeah. So you didn't know before that?
No. So Southend always pretty much
leave it till late.
Always did the third year scholar.
Okay.
So you always had a third year.
Yeah, John spoke about that.
And which was, in terms of their perspective, was almost like a cheap pro.
Of course.
Which was for them is to back it up. But I said, money-wise and things like that, I didn't give a shit, really.
Right.
I didn't care. It wasn't about that. It was about getting that next step.
Yeah.
And being, you know, as I said, you got 2 years, then you end up getting another year to progress and to get further. And then, obviously, after that, 17, then ended up getting my pro. Yeah. And then that's when it sort of really started.
How long did you get, mate?
I got a year with a year option, I believe. It might not even been an option, it might have been just a year. They said, like, at the time was Southend sort of, as I said, we'll probably come on to it anyway, but it's probably the right place at the wrong time. Yeah. Where, as I said, I started really, really high at academy level. And then, it sort of petered out from there. So the 18 was my debut in League One against Gillingham.
Was you still a second year or a third year scholar?
I would have been a third year scholar. Yeah. As I said, I had what ended up happening was I ended up with 17. I ended up getting quite bad injury. I smashed out all my teeth. Right. Obviously, people will know I wear a gum shield in games and training. Everyone calls me turkey teeth and whatever. I'm battered for it, but I got my teeth smashed out.
I didn't even know that, mate.
Yeah, Jabbo Abira.
Oh big Jabbo.
He played a 23s game. I was 17, I think it was 16. Yeah. And I was 17. I was 17 actually. Kneed me straight in the face.
On purpose or
no,
right?
Complete accident. Was going for the ball and I said I come out head first and just happened. It was one of them things. They said teeth smashed out completely, gums.
How many
all
teeth?
Over the place. Two front two smashed out. But the shock of it and I said, like my lip and gums.
Yeah,
and
I bet, mate.
was all over the place. So I had that injury. I ended up playing 3 months with no teeth. Had a gum shield in to protect the other ones. I ended up going on loan to Dagenham for like work, not say
work experience.
It was more the fact is to get the sort of the knowledge of the game and things like that.
See if someone could knock the others out.
Yeah, that was a massive eye opener.
Yeah.
Maybe showed my character.
What were they in their conference?
Yeah. They said I had a denture in for 3 months. So I ended up taking it out and played games with no teeth and that. Yeah. So that sort of side
proper
of it.
mad monk style.
Yeah, I was like, people always thought I was nuts and that. Played with no teeth, but that work experience loan was massive.
Yeah, I bet.
Elliot Justin, who's now to go on to pastures new. I'm not sure what he's doing, to be fair.
Great keeper.
Unbelievable.
So did he actually leave Elliot then? I know there was...
He's on it's on social media now that he's left.
Is he? Because I know there was interest in... there's always talk of interest, right?
Yeah.
But I thought he was actually leaving. There was interest. There was talk of him coming Southend.
Yeah, I think there was interest. I'm not sure.
Right. He's given a lot of service.
Yeah, but over 350 games, I think. Yeah. Like that.
Mate, he went there from playing in goal at Redbridge. He's another one that was playing out in goal.
Well,
they played out in pitch, sorry.
Yeah, he ended up starting 27, maybe, something like that. He was at Brentwood and things like that as well. But 350 games.
Yeah.
Nearly 10 years at Dagenham.
Unbelievable, mate.
And number one, to be at that level, to earn that respect from him as well, which I've shown, and he helped me massively through that as well.
How old is he now in H if he's leaving there?
Early 30s, I think.
Right.
I can't remember the top of my head, but he's not too old. But he's one of them who's a great character.
Yeah.
Good person, good like family man as well.
Yeah.
Helped a lot of keepers over the years to get through.
That's good.
So I went out on loan there, ended up playing 2 games in National League at 17. So I played in the, I think it was the Vase or
Trophy,
maybe,
FA Trophy,
Trophy, and I played up 2 games with them. Ended up rupturing my ankle ligament in training. Obviously played and then done my ankle ligament, my ATFL, my right ankle. But then I was out for, I think it was 8 weeks.
Wow,
7 weeks. Then that's how my debut ended up happening.
Right.
So I obviously got recalled from Dagenham.
Yeah.
With my ankle hanging off. And then ended up going through rehab and stuff and getting it back fit. To be honest, I wasn't 100% when I made my debut.
Right.
You never are.
No, of course. Anyway,
you always have something.
After kids football, you're always playing with something.
I was always playing with something, some injury or fingers hurting or whatever. I was always playing with something. My ankle was hanging off, basically. Right. But was struggling keepers wise and stuff. And Ox got injured, I think. Nathan ended up moving on to United, so then I was the next one. So I ended up playing that Gillingham game, strapped up my ankle and sent me out. But my mentality was to do the best I possibly could.
Of course.
Get through it and stuff.
Your local team as well.
Yeah, it said I knew everyone there anyway and been around the setup. And God, what experience in front of my home. Like I said, grew up here.
Gillingham, you say, yeah?
Gillingham, Ollie Lee was there. Stuart O'Keefe, obviously ex-Southend and stuff, and people like that. Akinfenwa played.
Okay.
John Akinde.
Right.
So they had
2 big boys up top there.
Big boys. Yeah, they said a good experience and shed a light on what it could be, what I could achieve, and what the next step could be. From there, it was then tough.
Right. From your debut, yeah?
From that debut was then really, really tough.
In what way, mate?
Experiences, managers.
Right. Is that when sort of Southend dipped into their sort of bad spell?
Yeah. As I said, it's obviously common knowledge that it was really, really tough through that point. For everyone, fans, staff included with them. And as I said, it's only now sort of last couple of years that it's obviously turned around.
Yeah, of course.
Consortium and stuff. I said I've never badmouthed any of the people
No.
involved and things like that. It's never been me.
No.
It wasn't the situation. It was just I never got that chance to really have 5-6 games or really kick on and have that chance.
Why do you think that was, H? Was it
multiple reasons?
Was it just going back to that being a young kid, or
probably was one
situation
of the
they were in?
Was we had 4 emergency loan keepers at the point.
Wow.
The year before COVID, Sol Campbell's manager.
Yeah.
I remember it said vividly. It said, made my debut 18. We had maybe 10, 15 games left.
Yeah.
We was already mathematically gone. We was already relegated.
Yeah.
Obviously, Ox done I think he'd done a nerve in his back or something like that. And then, so I played the Gillingham game.
Was you effectively number 2?
Number 2, effectively, right. Yeah. It said like I was backing him up and learning on the job.
Yeah.
And I thought, I said Lee Harrison was goalie coach at the time. And we thought 10 games, nothing to lose.
No,
if I was terrible or good.
Yeah,
it doesn't matter. We was already relegated, and they said the club was rebuilding anyway and taking the next.
Was this
step.
for life in League 2? Yeah.
Yeah, life in League 2. And I thought,
okay, you should have a run
this
there.
Is my chance to get 10 games in.
Don't disagree with
on
that.
the Monday morning, loan keeper come in.
Right.
Emergency loan keeper come in. Ended up playing, I think, 5 or 6 games. And then obviously COVID hit, and then they cut their season short anyway.
Yeah.
So
even from a monetary aspect, right? You'd think they'd just play you.
But it said, you know football too well.
Yeah.
That was really tough to take.
Sure.
Where I've worked so hard to get the opportunity, and to think it's there.
Yeah.
And to then that being taken away from me was really tough. Then COVID hit.
Of course.
And then that was tough for everyone. And
yeah.
Be at home and
so was you in the bubble then? So you was in League 2 in the bubble?
Yeah, so in the bubble. It was in the bubble in League 2. I said I got my deal and stuff anyway sorted the next year.
So going into that season, you've got a pro deal, right?
Yep.
How many keepers are there in the squad? Still just
there was 2
him and you?
Yeah, 2 of us, and then there was obviously youth team.
Yeah.
Keepers coming through and stuff. And then, that COVID year, obviously Sol Campbell left.
Yeah.
I believe, if I remember right, it was Mark Mosley who come in.
Right.
That was a really strange time with the bubble and COVID and not using the change rooms. It was just weird time.
Was that driving in any kit, training, going home?
Training, going home. It just was bizarre, really bizarre. I said it was tough to sort of get your head around that sort of side of it, really. And then that year was a bizarre one where I knew I was going to be number 2 and I wanted to fight and things like that. And obviously, Ox was doing really well.
You'd be okay with that at your age, though, as well, right?
Definitely. At 17, 18, you could ask any keeper.
No, you take being on the bench. Yeah, 100%.
They've always done a stint on the bench. They said, we'll probably go on more. I trained with Gillingham and stuff, and Glenn Morris was there. Yeah. And he's still obviously there now.
Yeah, great keeper for him
now, and a brilliant role model for any young keeper. And he's done a lot of podcasts as well, like this, and spoke about his experience and things like that. And his experience as well, very similar. So I've done nearly 250 games on the bench, 200 games on the bench, Southend. But them experiences led me on to what I could have done. Experience, or I can do now. I said I still can.
Sure.
I'm ready to kick on again and use the experiences I've had done in the past, to kick on.
So is that really so 250 games on the bench? Yeah.
I'd say probably 4 seasons, maybe.
Wow.
Since 16, 17.
Does that get to a point, H, where obviously at the start, first year pro, you expect it. You may expect it for 2 or 3 seasons. By the end, did you just had enough?
Said
was there any chance to go out and get a loan?
Yeah, the loans and stuff was tough. I wanted to go out loan.
Yeah. But I suppose they only got you and him.
Yeah, only 2 of us, and it's tough for. And as I said, I got to be honest, I didn't really understand it when I was a player.
Of course.
But now looking back at it, they were never going to let me go anyway.
No, you understand it now. No.
There's no point, because if I got injured or Ox got injured or whoever was in goal, they had to recall me, and it would have been carnage.
Emergency loan.
It would have been just carnage. So I do understand it now.
Yeah. But at the time,
I could have went to Concord, for example, come from South. I had a chance to go there, and it sort of wasn't the right time, and I was young still, 17, 18.
Yeah.
So it was a big step. But now it's completely done a U-turn where they will take you 18 yards.
Yeah, of course they will. Yeah.
No problem at all.
Yeah.
So in terms of that now, I wish I was in that sort of stage now. I wish I was 18 now.
Yeah.
I would have got that chance to 50 games at Conference South level. Which is, as I said, in hindsight, you can't look back at it anyway. But
nah.
It's one of them where I still could have done it. I still could have done it with loans and stuff. The year with Mark Mosley was a weird one with COVID and stuff, and then we obviously get relegated at the end. We put up a fight. I ended up playing a few games here and there through COVID.
Yeah.
Ended up coming on, done 2 games, I think, League 2.
Right.
Had good experiences and stuff, and played some of the cup games and that.
Yeah.
Which I understood that. But some league,
of course,
second choice keepers do the cups and stuff, which is what I wanted anyway to get the games in.
At this point, though, H, you getting any reserve team games or 21 games?
21 games I've played since I was like 16,
right,
17. So I played 18s and 23s.
So you was getting some football at least?
I've played lots of football in youth level.
Right.
Lots of football. Every single week I was fortunate to be, as the games programme at under 18s, because we had such a good academy.
Yeah.
We always had games.
Of course.
Always had games. We was always playing. The 23s was always playing. Or there was like not a B team and stuff. Like a first team, like a reserve team and stuff. They had like it was under a 23s game.
Like an old school reserve team
so
game.
They still had players who would come back from injury and stuff that are playing that. And so I always had games, always played games, and always knew what I was doing. But that next stage of League 1, League 2, National League, I had experiences in that. That year, the COVID year, was a really bizarre one. Yeah, it was. I said Mark Mosley was the manager at the time, and I remember Ox getting injured again. Played against, I can't remember who I played. Done really well. I come on at half time and done really well, made a couple of good saves and stuff. And I thought, here we go, another chance for me to perform in League 2. And he said we were struggling anyway, which is, COVID and players and injuries and stuff. We were struggling. I'll always remember it. I think it was, we played a away game. I was on the coach all the way up there, thinking I was playing. Got to the hotel, another keeper was there. So I said like 18, 19, devastated.
Yeah, of
absolutely
course.
Devastated. I had me scrambled egg, and my head was in the scrambled egg, mate. It was.
It's like.
But that is football.
Yeah, of course.
It's football,
but it's devastating at the same time. Isn't
just fucking.
Especially like as a younger player, you're not used to it, but like it's hard being a keeper because there's only one spot. You think think you're playing, then you're not. It's not like, let's say you're a forward, you've got 4 forwards, you're going to pick 2 on a Saturday, 2 sit on the bench. Yeah. There's probably a 90% chance that them 2 subs are going to come on.
You ask any keeper, the likelihood of you coming on off the bench is
minimal. And we always have this conversation, H. I'm not sure I'd ever have a keeper on the bench.
Well, now, no one does.
Yeah.
No one does.
I just don't know whether...
You'd always have another player.
Yeah, a chance percentage is... Yeah. So, obviously, you've had the 250 games on the bench and you're travelling, you're not playing, you're playing youth team or 23 games. How did that then come to a head where you think, was that a you decision or their decision where you think...
Me.
Right.
Yeah, me.
You need to get out.
Yeah, so it was a January transfer window.
Yeah.
I had a few...
What year was that, mate?
That was, I would have...
22?
About 20. 2022? No, about 20.
No, yeah.
Oh, so yeah, so it would have
2022?
been 2022, 2021.
Yeah.
I can't remember exactly, but I was 20 at the time.
Yeah.
So in 21, I thought, you know what? Like, I went through so many bad experiences there. No, that's not like the club wise and stuff. It happens in football and stuff. And they said, too many people have gone through injuries and experiences and that. It happens. It's life. I ended up going on loan, on trial, to, first of all, was Swansea.
Yeah.
So Dean Fulton was my agent at the time. Right. So he's now he's Russell Martin's goalie coach.
Okay.
At Southampton with Ramsdale and stuff like that. So he was at Swansea at the time. Okay. So he was my agent at a point, and then when he went to MK Dons, then obviously he could be an agent, conflict of interest and stuff.
Cool.
So he ended up leaving the agency. Ended up going there on trial and stuff, which was I think like 2.5 weeks, hotel and
in
training and stuff, and it was really good. Nothing come about.
Right.
So 2 weeks really probably wasted.
When you went there, how many keepers did they have?
4.
That's what I'm saying.
5.
Yeah.
So you're competing with them and just tough.
Yeah.
They said, we didn't need another keeper. So I ended up winning there just basically for no reason, really, which was tough to take. And then I got a phone call from Derby. Derby, and they wanted me to go on trial and stuff through a couple of contacts and stuff who knew I was a free agent and some experiences in the past. They brought me in. I was there nearly about a month, 2 months.
Staying in
digs. Yeah. That was the first time staying in digs as well with another family, which was a big eye opener to what that was like. Then they ended up. That was the time where Mike Ashley was going to buy the club and didn't have any money and stuff like that. So ended up didn't sign there, which was another one tough to take.
Yeah,
so
I'm sure. It's a big club.
Yeah, 2 trials where I did well, but the club situation was tough. So they said no fault of my own, really. I said I did my best and put myself out there to try and get something, and it didn't happen. It didn't happen, and I've never give up and didn't give up then. So, and that's
for people that don't know. Obviously you're staying in digs, you're on trial, like you're not getting paid, right?
No, not getting paid. I said I ended up leaving in January transfer window from Southend. Yeah, and obviously I was contracted to probably about May. Yeah, so that time I wasn't getting paid, so I put myself out and to try and get something, and I think I got some expenses and stuff, but nothing you could live off, obviously. But it was the case of, you know what, I will go for it and give it a go. And it didn't work at the time, and it happens. But you don't want to live with regrets. The only thing, obviously my dad and stuff, an old man that would have said is, I would have regretted it not giving it a go.
Of course.
So I said,
best way to be, isn't it?
Yeah, 100%.
So you've come out of there. You've left Southend. What was your next step?
They said they come out of the Derby and the Swansea trials and gone, I've got to play. Yeah. I've got to play, get men's football under the belt and earn my stripes is what I've done for the last 2 or 3 years now. I've gone through that same motto as earning my stripes. Yeah. And there's either 2 ways you make a career out, especially goalkeeping, is you start early in the academy level and get into a team and that's of course. Or you earn your stripes in non-league and go up the pyramid and get a move and go up the pyramid and keep going. So hopefully that's the plan, is to keep going and keep playing and go up the pyramid. So obviously end up signing for Bidericki in the summer that year.
What were they in at the time? Conference South or Rugby Prem?
Yeah, Rugby Prem at the time. Dan Brown, I owe him a lot in terms of the experiences I had through that time. Through the games and stuff.
Love Brown. I know we spoke about it before. I love Brownie, top man.
Brilliant guy. As I said, some managers don't like goalkeepers anyway. But he was the one where he drove standards. Right. So if I did something wrong, he let me know, obviously.
Yeah, of course.
But it was one of them where I didn't want to make a mistake. So my performances end up getting better and better. Listening to you off the podcast, as I said, the first 5 games was tough. Yeah. I say it to anyone, and obviously no scopes and stuff, but we had Averley one of the first games, and they're notorious to putting balls in the box and being sort of a horrible defensive unit and stuff. And said that's what they do and how they play, and they get results out of it, and they've got promoted from it. Yeah, that was a tough game, trying to claim crosses and stuff where I think it's easy.
I think I've never even come to that.
Yeah, and dropping balls and stuff and getting clattered and things like that, where I'm making the wrong decisions. But I ended up playing 54 games that year. Yeah. Broke the record, played every minute of every game in that season. Okay. Which obviously put me in good stead, and Brownie ended up getting the sack at the end and leaving or whatever happened anyway. And then obviously we all sort of left. Ended up joining Hornchurch in that season. So I did the Bidericki season, ended up joining Hornchurch in the summer of that year. With Steve Morrison at the time. Me and Joe Wright were the keepers there. As I said, the same as we said, is we wanted to compete with each other, and that was the plan, is to compete.
He's had a good non-league career, Joe
Wright.
Non-league career. Is he Chatham now?
Chatham now, yeah. Brilliant bloke. As I said, great keeper anyway, non-league experiences he's played for. countless games.
Did he play at Wembley for Hornchurch when they won it?
Played at Wembley. Yeah, played at Wembley. And so we battered it out, and he ended up obviously getting a nod and stuff and playing, which is happens. Is what it is. But then Margate ended up trying to come in for me.
Yeah.
Same league, Ryman Prem, same as Hornchurch, obviously. Then that was a tough decision to make. Where
do you stick it out or play,
or do I twist and go? Do you know what? Do I play? As I said, like maybe I could have played. Obviously, Joe got injured in the end, and they brought in another keeper, Dion, and he ended up playing a few games at the end. So I may have played 15 games. But in hindsight, I said it's a great thing anyway. But I ended up playing 46 games for Margate.
Yeah, I think we had John and I had this conversation last week. I think whatever level you're at, you've got to go and play games. 100%.
So obviously 46 games at Margate. We ended up getting relegated that season.
Yeah. That went down to the wire, didn't it?
Went down to the last 2 games it was.
Yeah.
Then, as I said, like, it was, right down to the wire. Last game, and we just, other results didn't go our way, and that we fell short. But them experiences made me better as a player and a person. Said in a dogfight at the bottom of the league and stuff, and you're trying to fight your way out. And as I said, them experiences will help in the long run.
100%. I've always thought Margate had the ability to be a really big football club. I know they've put down a 4G now, and they're trying to do
brilliant football club. I can't fault them at all. In terms of, I said, travel wise from Southend to Margate was a big journey.
Jolly boys every Saturday.
It was. God, it was a tough journey. Said, in terms of that, if I lived like Kent Way or near there, it would be a no-brainer. Great club, good people.
It is a long slog.
But it's a long journey. Long journey. We've obviously now leaning into work and coaching and stuff. Would have been really, really, really tough. And they said like that season was good for me. And then, that summer was also very interesting.
Yeah.
Obviously this summer, wanted to try and push myself into step 2. And as I said, the goal is to still keep going and get into step 2 and go up the pyramid.
Yeah.
I ended up going sort of on the trial as such at Welling to start with.
The Rod Stringer.
Just had a few keepers in with Jim Stannard as well, who I know quite well. And then they ended up signing Reece Lovett, who's played league experience, national league experience, a little older than me. Then ended up going to Hemel, signed for Hemel after that sort of little period of 6 weeks or whatever in pre-season. That was a strange one. Yeah,
he's been their keeper for a long time, hasn't he? Or has he been with it? Has he been with the manager for a long time?
Yeah, so Kingy's there at Hemel still now.
Yeah,
great bloke. Done experiences at Luton and things like that as well. And he's been there for a while. Good person, obviously, to learn off of and stuff. Just didn't get the nod really to play, which is, as I said, happens. Then other stuff happened and things like that, and just wasn't working out with the travel, and it was just too much. But obviously, not playing and stuff and travelling all that way was tough. And then obviously, Hornchurch ended up coming in for me again. So,
how did you feel going back to Hornchurch after what happened last time?
For me, it was unfinished business.
Right.
In my head, it was unfinished business. I said they had Mason Terry there, who's still there now. Young lad.
Again on loan though.
Again on loan from West Ham.
Yeah.
But as I said to Kiri's the goalie coach there, I know quite well anyway from the first time I was there. I wanted to help him as well through my experiences and to help him and improve. And as I said, I wanted to play as the main goal to play. And as I said, us GK Union and stuff, we're all together as a unit. But I wanted to help him and help him improve and stuff. He ended up getting sent off in the FA Cup.
Yeah, I remember,
And then obviously got knocked out of the FA Cup.
Yeah.
So then I ended up playing against Salisbury in the league on the following Saturday. Is
that when you got done?
Done a nerve in my back in the first 15 minutes. Ended up playing 75 minutes with basically one leg.
Yeah.
Just dragging my right leg around. Which was...
I'll do that every Saturday, mate.
So I had that nerve in my back, which obviously affected my groin, my hip. I've done the save a million times before. It's just one of them things where I landed awkwardly on my back, and I knew straight away something was wrong. But my mentality and stuff, I stayed on the pitch as best I could.
Did they have someone on the bench?
No. Didn't have anyone on the bench. Obviously, I had a choice, but
of course,
for me, I wanted to stay on the pitch and
still think an injured goalie is better than putting like
outfield. Probably, so I made a few saves and a few crosses and that where I could use my experience in that to not move, but comical at some points when they shots from the edge of the box and that can't move, just falling over and that. And then, end up getting a text a couple of weeks later, said,
not needed.
Stuff happened, not needed and that, and got released. So I ended up being a free agent again, injured, can't walk, basically, couldn't move. I said, I owe a lot to Ben Clarkson,
right?
Southend physio.
He lives locally, right?
Lives locally in Southend, and as I said, for anyone who lives in Southend or remotely around Essex,
we'll give him a plug. Ben
Clarkson has said he goes into a clinic and said you can put it on the social media and stuff, and we'll help him as well. I owe him everything,
right?
Everything to get me back, and if anything does happen from this and a kick on, I owe him a lot.
Yeah,
because the injury was really tough. The nerve was in my back, obviously affected my right leg, which is my kicking leg.
Yeah. So what did you have to do to get back
rehab,
from that, mate?
I said swelling and stuff and bruising around the groin and the hip was bad. Swelling. Obviously, I played the 75 minutes with.
How did you do it? How did you do it at the time?
I said I tipped one over the bar, and then landed between like my lower back, right on like sort of the coccyx sort of side of it. And then as soon as I got up, shooting pain all the way down from around my hip all the way down to my groin. So I knew something was wrong, and the sensation was like a burning sensation through all the way from my hip. And it said we ended up getting through to half time, and there was nothing in my groin at all, just complete jelly, nothing. And then obviously played the second half, and obviously with gravity and stuff, and the swelling and the bruising going down to my groin, it just sat there.
Right.
So I couldn't move it. So obviously Benji had to come and old school, get your fingers in it. And,
was that painful? Oh mate, that doesn't sound nice at all.
No, just not nice at all. And it said the pain was on my hip as well, and my groin, which is massive for any movement, flexible movement and stuff, especially goalkeeping, kicking and that. It said those were tough days, very tough.
Yeah.
So main income was through football.
Yeah.
Trying to pursue it and keep going. Not having that stuff, family and misses and stuff was hard to take. I said no fault of my own. I give it a go and give it a chance.
Yeah. How long rehab was that, mate?
Nearly 9 weeks.
Was it?
8 weeks, yeah. So I did 2 weeks with Hornchurch.
So you couldn't coach during that time either, or nothing?
I did a little bit of coaching. I could kick it.
Right.
Obviously done the coaching with the younger ones and stuff, and sort of managed it. Then Sammy Collins ended up messaging me. He's been trying to get hold of me and stuff for a while and things like that.
Yeah.
In step 4, and they got relegated and stuff. Local, I said I know him anyway. And he ended up offering me a job as well.
Right.
So that transition from going, I'm in full time and trying to pursue it, and then I deliver tyres.
Right.
So I ended up going from playing and pursuing it and thinking I'm going to do it to being released and then delivering tyres.
Yeah.
I said you've been around football long enough and know people have gone through sort of similar experiences where you drop out of football and football's your whole life.
Yep.
I said I've still got my coaching and that. I had my coaching and things like that as well, where I still can do it and pursue it. But then obviously Sammy come in, playing for Concord now, getting back fit and sort of get back to the end of the season, and then obviously reevaluate and see what happens from there. But I said the job wise and things like that, I'm getting up at 5 o'clock in the morning, getting into the depot and delivering tyres all day, and then going into coaching. So I'm doing a lot. But as I said, the main goal is obviously the coaching and the football side of it is what I want to do.
So, be honest, you've been in football your whole life up to now. England, honours, youth team honours, and then you're delivering tyres. Pardon the pun, did you feel like you'd gone off track, or like? Because it's tough, right? I think you've got the grandeur of being a footballer for one, but two, you go from having something very scheduled. You need to be in at 11 or 9. You have breakfast, you train, you have lunch, you go home. You do that every day. Wednesdays you get off, Saturdays you're out all day, Sunday you recover, right? And then all of a sudden you're like, go do what you want, go eat what you want, and deliver tyres. Like, how did that transition? Like,
transition was bizarre. As I said, in the thick of it, with the tyres and stuff, it said like Sammy's helped me out massively through the job and financial aspect of it. He's got me back on my feet, and I can't thank him enough. I said the first 2 weeks at Concord when I first played was a shambles.
Was it?
I couldn't kick it. I was still in discomfort, in a lot of pain.
Right.
But I needed to get through that bit, the first phase.
Was that part of the injury that you needed to get through that to be all right?
Definitely,
right, okay.
Definitely. I needed to get through that pain barrier to then go through and kick on. And I feel obviously a lot better now and now in the thick of it in the groove. So get through. And I said the job wise and things like that, it's got me back on my feet. Yeah. But that transition was tough.
I'm sure.
Yeah, really tough.
And you're like, are you now that boy in the changing room, like trying to knock out tyres to people for their car? You had like in my day in a non-league changing room, there'd always be someone like selling moody clobber over here, or I don't know, maybe I should say like moody pound coins over here, moody whatever it is. Are you trying to like flog someone and new pair of good years? Yeah,
definitely not, mate. No, I said like it's good people at work as well, and you know it's life, isn't it?
Yeah, of course.
It's one of those things.
I think as part of the journey, like I can see it and we talk and whatever, your long term will be in coaching, right? But like when you're making transitions, I think you've got to stay busy, but also like you're moving out, you've got a partner, you've got around money, right? It makes the world go round. Yeah. So like things are not always permanent.
No.
But what's your long term goal? Obviously coaching aside, what's your long-term goal football-wise? Like, because right now, I think in the way of like your life and everything else, playing for Concord probably suits you, right? Mm-hmm. You've got a job off the back of it. You're earning money, like you're saving, you're moving out, whatever. But like, how does that sit with you? Are you playing devil's advocate? Are you happy to play at Concord for 10 years, or do you want to like now you've had this time to sort of start work, sort of manage that transition from full-time to part-time, but without sounding you're part of the real world now?
Yeah.
Like how do you want to manage your football going forward?
Football has been my life, and I've always set a goal is to go back into the league. Yeah. When I left Southend and that, and I wanted to get back to where I basically started, and and I can't do it. I can do it, and I can get to that point again. I said opportunities and stuff that arise and come through, then so be it. But got to a point where you've got to look at the bigger picture as well. Of course. B, you've got to have a plan C, and if it don't work, then it is what it is. So football perspective, so we've had a chat about coaching and stuff, and so with my experiences going forward, and disappointments and anger or whatever.
Yeah, of course.
I can put that back into coaching. Yeah. And even with the different coaching experiences I've had with different coaches and different places and whatever, different styles of play and stuff like that, I can give back to the kids around here. And
100%, mate.
And also you said the big part about parents and stuff, I can,
And that's like having played football and whatever and still being involved with football now, that's massive, because I wouldn't, choose my words carefully, I wouldn't send my kid to a coach that I didn't think either played the game or knew the game. And that's not being disrespectful, because people would say maybe that Arsene Wenger was the greatest manager of all time, like didn't play football. But I think football to a certain extent will take care of itself. But like to what you're saying, the bits that you can impart on the parents or the kids, that's the bit that I am more interested in, because you see a lot of wallies, don't you, involved in coaching and football,
coaching,
and
grassroots football,
and that's more what I'm involved in. So do you think come the summer, H, are you going to give it a crack again, try and get step 2 again and go again?
Yeah, I think so. I said that there's opportunities maybe out there. As I said, I can do it. I know I can do it. Depends on who comes in or who wants keepers and that.
Of course.
I said, competing with loans and stuff it's really tough.
Yeah.
Really tough. And I said, to a club perspective, loans are easy.
Yeah, of course they are.
I don't envy anyone.
They get injured, take them back.
Get another one. It's conveyor belt, and there's always keepers available. So it is tough. But as I said, I've got a lot of experience in playing different levels and whatnot.
So what have you played now then, H? You've played
League 1, League 2, National League, Conference South, Roman Prem, and now in Step 4.
Right.
So I've played
brilliant
levels in that now, going forward. Just working your way up the pyramid, really.
Yeah. So you've come down a little bit. Now it's time to reassess and go back up.
Yeah, go back up and sort of keep going back up the pyramid. But so keepers wise, the level and that is, it's the same job.
Yeah.
You keep the ball out of the back of the net, you boot it long, or you play it from the back.
Yeah.
Very, very simple. Black and white in it, I suppose. But where the opportunities lies, where the stumbling block would be.
There's 2 questions off the back of that, H, and answer them where you want, mate. So you're going to reassess and go again. Now you've tasted, shall we say, not civilian life, but you know what I mean, right? If they don't come and you play at step 4, step 3, whatever, are you okay with that?
Yeah. You have to be.
Yeah.
Yeah, you have to sort of, football's been my life and that. I enjoy playing football.
Yeah.
The winning, the losing and stuff, it gives a purpose to the game.
Yeah.
And a purpose to a club. And for example, when you're playing and that, it's good. It's a
Yeah.
good feeling that if you're winning or get promoted or whatever,
Of course.
it's a good feeling. And you know that anyway.
Yeah.
Promotions or whatnot. It's a good feeling. And that's always what I wanted to do. And whatever level it is, I've always loved stepping over that white line and playing, put my gloves on and enjoying it. Even like now at non-league and that,
of course,
battered every week.
Away
fans and that always laugh and joke and always have a drink with them after the game. It's part of it. It's part of the game and part of being a goalie is the stick is crazy. It's crazy, but I enjoy it.
I think as long as it's not too bad and you don't take it too seriously.
No, you can never take it seriously.
Then it is what it is, right?
Yes, people try and put you off and that.
Of course. Part of parcel, isn't it?
It's part of the game, isn't it? Yeah, it's part of the game.
And then lastly, as I say, we've touched on it a lot, and I've seen it in my own club, Leyton Orient. Like a lot of keepers knocking about, a lot of the higher clubs, stockpile keepers. Say when they come to obviously all loans work differently, but like because of only one person, and like a Prem team might have 8 keepers, or Champ team might have 5. Are they offering them keepers up cheap? Is it like you're paying a quarter of their money, or
it all
differs?
In terms of the politics wise, I have no idea.
Right.
But where it lies is their experience.
Yeah.
They're 18 or 17 or whatever playing Conference South.
Yeah.
Huge, massive experiences for them, and it's a free hit because if they're not very good, then they can send them back or get another one, or their recruitment side of it can get another loan in or whatever. But these 18-year-olds are athletic, tall. They're, they can play the game. They can win the game. And then obviously, as I said, like for a club perspective, they might pay minimal or whatever. But the fact is, they're always available. Like for example, like myself, I might have work or whatever. Or someone might have work and you might miss a game. And then they've got to get someone in. All these loans, they can get someone in straight away.
So you touched on him earlier, Mason Terry at Hornchurch. I've heard some good things about him. Has he got a chance going back up?
A massive chance.
Right.
He'll
How old is he now?
He's 20.
Right.
I think he's 20, 21 maybe.
I've heard some good things about him.
Very, very good. Athletic. Good talker as well. Played a lot of games now. The last 2 years at Concord. And now at Hornchurch in the Conference South. He'll go far. Especially mentality-wise as well. He can do it. he can do it. I said opportunities.
Yeah, and he would have been bashed up this year as well, wouldn't he?
Yeah. Beaten, bashed, whatever you want to put it. He's
and
gone
he stood up to it.
And he stood up to it.
But the loan thing is really interesting because, as I say, we've seen it 2 or 3 years on a trot at Orient, loan keepers, and like we had Sol Brim, for instance, last season, and like he's gone back to Middlesbrough and played games for Middlesbrough first team. He's done well. And we had the other side where we took Hemmings, maybe he was thought of more than Sol Brim, like he'd done. I think he won Player of the Year twice, 2 years on the trot, St Mirren and someone at Kilmarnock, maybe in the Scottish Prem. He wasn't quite good enough, and we sent him back. We got him on a year's loan. We sent him back at Christmas. I don't know whether we sent him back or they recalled him. We got the couple of weeks, but yeah, it's a tough gig, mate. I think you've just got to, like as you say, have a reset, play some games, think about your coaching career, and then mate, give it your best shot in the summer. But just be happy with what you're doing. For me personally, it's great to see all the coaching that you do with the kids. They all seem to love it. Obviously, you're progressing young talent. So, going to continue to watch your career, mate, from afar. And, I just wish you all the best. Hopefully, stabilise. I think Concord's had a bit of a rough few years, haven't they? So it's probably a season of stabilisation for them, keep them in Ryman North before they can think about anything else. And I hope you do that, mate. And who knows what the summer brings. Thank you, pal. It's been an absolute pleasure.
Cheers.